आपको दोबारा स्वागत है। कल हमने ये कासा डायलॉग्स में ये आउटसोर्सिंग वॉर के बारे में बात किया था। द ट्रेंड वर्ल्ड वाइड टुडे इज प्राइवेट मिलिट्री कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स in the Ukraine war and in Africa and many other places, and they are using people from all around, all nationalities, all kinds, ostensibly as help in war, logistical help back, but they're actually fighting. ये हमने कल विस्तार में बात किया था इसके बारे में कि लोग पूरा दुनिया से हायर कर रहे हैं फॉर द यूक्रेन वॉर, रशिया और दोनों साइड में, और वो इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं हर काम के लिए, लड़ाई के लिए, सब कुछ के लिए, राइट। इसके बाद जब हमने जारी किया था, एक बड़ा वरिष्ठ अधिकारी, जो भूतपूर्व वरिष्ठ अधिकारी ने ये दिखाया है, ये मेरे को मैसेज दिया है, वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. He says, I'm glad that you have articulated this video for people to see. I wonder if you are aware that several Western countries employ Indians in their armed forces, even if they are on a tourist visa. यानी कि अगर आपके पास टूरिस्ट वीसा है, आप उस देश में जाइए, आपको नौकरी मिल जाएगा. और कहाँ? फौज में, उनका फौज में. With our numbers and the desperation to find jobs, they will be snapped up by the contractors in a jiffy. Congratulations, excellent talk. मेरे बात बहुत बढ़िया नहीं है, मतलब कोई अनोखा नहीं है, पर मुद्दा अनोखा है, राइट? ये मुद्दा अनोखा है, इसलिए हमने ये जारी किया था कि आज का अग्निवीर क्या कल मर्सनरी बनेंगे, कल आज का अग्निवीर कल क्या बाड़े का सिपाही बनेंगे? बन सकते हैं अगर हम सतर्क ना हो तो, अगर हम सही कदम ना उठाए तो. एक तरह देख, बहुत लोगों ने आलोचना किया आज सोशल मीडिया पे कि ऐसे कैसे सोच सकते हो, इंडिया से कोई नहीं जा सकता, हमारे संस्कार ऐसे है कि किसी को छोड़ेगा नहीं कि कोई इंडिया से जाएगा. आप फौजी होके, इतना सीनियर ऑफिसर होके ऐसे कैसे बोल सकते हो? आपका जो all your emotions are fully understood, but I will look at facts. If we do not look at facts, we are in trouble. Let me tell you, let me put things in perspective. At this point of time, there is no problem, but the problem is coming ahead. Till 2026, there's no problem. Let me make it very clear. The Agniveers have just started. उनका सिर्फ ट्रेनिंग शुरुआत हुआ है. पहले बैच भी अभी तक यूनिट में नहीं पहुंचे. उसके बाद 4 साल और रहेंगे, 5 साल तक उनका, उसके बाद जाएंगे. उस वक्त प्रॉब्लम शुरू होगा. If you are smart, if you are alert, you will take steps from now to ensure you don't get into a problem. अगर हम अड़ियल रहे तो हम यही सोचते रहेंगे कि नहीं होगा. अगर हम आंख बंद करके रहें तो हमें मुसीबत 5 साल के बाद झेलना होगा, और उसके बाद ये प्रॉब्लम कंपाउंड होता जाएगा. मैं अभी आपको गणित दिखा दूंगा, उसके बाद हम देखते हैं क्या कर सकते हैं. कहा, देश तो मेरा भी है, आपका भी है, राइट? और मेरा ये पिक्चर जो दिखा रहा हूँ, अमिताभ बच्चन और धर्मेंद्र का, ये शोले का है, आप सबको पता है. और ये भी पता है कि ये बाड़े के सिपाही थे, और ये गब्बर सिंह का डायलॉग है ये, राइट? खैर, उसको छोड़िए. अभी लेट मी गो टू what I want to put across to you. This is a problem I did not visualize last year. Let me be very honest with you. Last year, I did a series of examinations on the Agniveer and the Agnipath scheme to the last man. My figures and my calculations, everything was quoted by a lot of people all over India for their arguments. Later, I spoke to a lot of senior officers and middle level officers. They say, sir, we are taking all your figures and your calculations because we didn't expect this. So we kept them. And whenever we are in doubt, we keep them and we get back to you. And they do get back to me. Okay. At that point of time, I was not for the Agnipath scheme the way it was introduced. But then it is introduced. It is my job to make it a success. In the success of the Agnipath and the Agniveer scheme lies India's success. Right. So, all this, what I'm trying to put out is to make India succeed, not fail. It is not to say, oh, our armed forces, people, right. Anyway, that's a different story. But the Ukraine war has brought up this problem in a big way. पहले भी उस वक्त अगर आपको याद है तो सब बोल रहे थे कि ये जितने अग्निवीर बाहर आएंगे ये सेना बनेंगे, वो सेना बनेंगे, वो सब भी है, बट दिस इज अ बिग प्रॉब्लम. Those who do not understand this problem will have to go back to it. It's on us actually. So let me get into the problem. Let me define the problem. This is a picture of mercenaries or private military contractors, jo bolo, of 2005 in Afghanistan. That is when actually really in the recent times the private military contractors came into focus. This is about the Wagner group today. This is today's. थोड़ा नजदीक जाके हम देखेंगे इसके अंदर क्या लिखा है. Wagner now commands 50,000 fighters. Just one side. He started recruiting in large numbers last year because Russia had trouble finding people in the regular army. Now, with aging societies, advanced societies, nations who have money at their disposal, who cannot afford to have their people fighting for them, will always hereafter hire people. There's a market, and this market is an expanding market. That's what I'm going to prove now. About 80% of its troops in Ukraine have been drawn from prisons, according to the EU. That's okay. They'll draw it from anywhere they want. Right? Right. So the fundamental thing is this Wagner group is now big, and it hits the news every second day. Okay, this is an advertisement for people in Ukraine. They are called extraction protective agents for Ukraine. You see the salary, $1,000 to $2,000 per day plus bonus. They're given a job ID, everything. It's a proper advertisement on the net. And it doesn't take long for you to get this out. Look at this Jerusalem Post. Foreign mercenaries in Ukraine earning up to $3,000 salaries. It's a Russian report. Right. If you see closely, I'll put it. The Ukrainian military said that as of April 2022, roughly 20,000 fighters from 52 countries have applied to enlist. That is the response, including Israeli nationals. That's why this is come in Jerusalem Post. Cannot ignore this problem. If we ignore this problem, it is at our peril. You must read this article, जो New York Post का है. Again, stolen valor, the US volunteer in Ukraine who lie, waste and bicker. पैसा बना रहे हैं. There are all kinds of people. It was a revelation for me to read this article. And after I read this article, I found there are more articles in New York Times on these and many more. Right. Now, yesterday, this is again important. Z condemns killings in African nation. Again, I think this is also from New York Times, only I filched it. In African nation where Russian and Chinese interests compete. 9 Chinese nationals were killed in Central African Republic, where the Kremlin-aligned Wagner Group controls a gold mine and Chinese companies have built for their own operations. There's a huge market demand. Let's see the economics. Okay, before I get to the economics, I found this. Someone sent it to me purposely today. Right? This is an article of 2014 or 15, not today's. Corporatizing war and conflict, the military industrial complex in USA and India. In this, it says, this author says, that Indians, ex-servicemen, were recruited for Iraq. Why were they recruited for Iraq? Because they had experience of fighting, they were very steady under fire, and they were well trained. Well, I mean, I was actually flabbergasted today when I got this. I said, let me share it with everyone. There must be some truth for someone to have written this and someone to have sent this to me. As per the United Nations, it defines private military and security contractors as a corporate entity which provides compensatory basis military and or security services by physical persons and for legal entities. Look, this is legal as per UN laws or rules or sanctions or whatever it is. The UN doesn't say they can be used as fighters, but in the Ukraine war, they're being used as fighters. Okay. The UN laws cover activities such as training and recruiting combat personnel for logistics, ADAM, and other military services. What are the pay which is going around? I've already said about 2,000 per day plus bonus. As of today, and both sides between Ukraine and this thing, anything from 50 to 70,000 people are fighting. And they're non-national people. They could be either way. From 52 countries, or many more, all kinds. In fact, if you go through this, agar aap you go through this discussion which I had with General Dushan Singh yesterday, it's on the on my channel only. Yesterday only, a day before, all details we have given already. He's done full research on this. Today's this thing is only an extension of that. And I'm only correlating it with Agniveer's in numbers. We'll come to that. The last thing is interesting. The global private military and security industry will be worth over $457 billion in 2030. Today it is 224. In the next 7 years, it's going to double. That's the market and that's the demand. Look, we are in the market. There's a demand and the supply. Market things will take over. How can you stop it? Unless you stop it. Okay, right. Let's see ahead. What about Agniveers? See the maths. We'll come to the rest later. Today's recruitment is about 45,000. It will go up to 1 to 1.5 lakhs per year very shortly. And as you go along, it will only increase. It will not decrease. That's the maths I've done. And these maths, I have put it in black and white on my website. roughly about 75,000 to 1 lakh Agniveers will come out into society every year. These are all fully trained in all trades, combatant trades, gunners, communicators, firers, infantry, artillerymen, tankmen, everything. And they've been trained by the Indian Army. They'll be the best soldiers. I have full confidence in the Indian Army to have done that. Now, the potential of 75 to 1 lakh means they can equip 3 divisions anywhere you want. Now, in this 5 years or 4.5 years, they will be hardly equipped for any other task in civil service. They will get some training, but that's it. I have interacted with a few people, with a few, parents, and some Agniveers who are going. They say, भाई 5 साल के बाद हमारा क्या होगा? They're worried. There is no exit policy or safeguards at this point of time for this problem which is coming up. 1 week back, if someone had told me that all these chaps will become mercenaries, I would have laughed on their face like everyone is laughing at my face today. But this research, my conversation with day before yesterday, has said that this is a problem. I should highlight it in any manner I want, and that's all I'm doing. Right? Then people say, look, Agniveer 5 साल में जाएंगे बिना pension के. In 70s also people used to go out of service with color service of 7 years. What then? Why didn't you come up then? Why nothing happened? They didn't become criminals. They didn't become mercenaries, etc., etc. I agree with you. The social norms of the 70s were far different than today. The world has changed. From 70s to the 20s, you have the society and the people who join the armed forces are used to the fact that they'll get a pension. They get a secure government job. उन दिनों और इसमें पूरा आपका समाज बदल गया है. राइट. एक और सवाल पूछा गया था आज मेरे को कि आप ये बोल रहे हो तो हर आदमी जो 35 से 40 साल के बीच में उम्र में बाहर निकलता है वो क्यों नहीं जाएगा? भाई जा रहे हैं, वो तो मेरे को ऑलरेडी बताया गया है. कुछ तो जा रहे हैं, सारे नहीं जाएंगे. पर बात यह है कि वो ज्यादातर क्यों नहीं जाएंगे? उन सबको पेंशन मिल रहा है आजकल. पेंशनेबल सर्विस है. वो अगर बाहर चले जाएंगे उनको पेंशन नहीं मिलेगा. पेंशन के लिए आपको हर साल जाके खड़ा होके एक प्रमाण पत्र देना पड़ता है. मेरे को भी देना पड़ता है. मैं भी पेंशन लेता हूँ. अगर बिना पेंशन को वो इसमें नवंबर में हमें पेंशन नहीं मिलेगा दोबारा. जो पेंशन पाता है वो 10 बार सोचेगा बाहर जाने से पहले कि और कोई गलत काम करे. और बाकी आपको सहूलियत भी मिलता है फौज का. आपको प्रोविडेंट फंड मिला होगा, ग्रेचुइटी मिला होगा, वो काफी अच्छे रकम है. आपको लीव एनकैशमेंट का फायदा है. तो आपका आर्थिक हालत 15-20 साल नौकरी करने के बाद अच्छा होता है. प्रॉब्लम तब आएगा जब ये अग्निवीर सिर्फ वो 10-1 लाख के साथ बाहर जाएंगे तो. राइट. तो ये हमें पता होना चाहिए कि ये हो सकता है. ये नहीं बोल रहा हूं कि होगा. मेरे को भी यकीन है कि हमारा फौज का जो सिखलाई के बाद कम लोग जाएंगे, पर इसका क्या भरोसा. ये भी लिख रहा हूं मैं. सारे नहीं जाएंगे. कुछ तो और काम करेंगे, कुछ देश का उन्नति के लिए काम करेंगे, कुछ प्राइवेट वॉक ऑफ लाइफ में चले जाएंगे, इंडस्ट्री में चले जाएंगे, पर सब कुछ तो जाएंगे क्योंकि तादाद इतना है. देखिए, ये 75 से 1 लाख का जो मैं बोल रहा हूं, ये एक एवरेज है. ये एक्चुअली देयर विल बी स्पाइक्स. As per my figures, at one point of time, the maximum outgo will be over 2 lakhs. That is because of the structure of the army and the way recruitment takes place, XYZ. And ये जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ, ये figures, I have already put it. Go to gunnershot.com, type Agniveer, and you will find 10 articles on it with figures. Which figures which I have calculated for the next 20 years. और पैसा ज्यादा है. आप एक 5 साल जब लड़का बाहर जा रहा है, पैसा आप दे रहे हो, इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है. गवर्नमेंट अच्छा कर रहा है, ये इसमें भी डाउट नहीं है. पर अगर उसको जॉब नहीं मिले और कोई उसको he gets sucked in, he is shown some inducement, पैसा ज्यादा है, वो जाएगा, आपको पता भी नहीं होगा अगर आपने सही कदम उठाए नहीं तो. ये मेरा my whole thing is this: if you build safeguards today, it will not happen. If you don't build safeguards today, there's a problem. And all I'm saying is, let's build safeguards. I'm not saying that this will happen and everyone will run away, right? Indian Army is not the guarantor of post-service behavior. जिस तरीके से मैं जो भी कर सकता हूँ कि कुछ हद तक सर्विस छोड़ने के बाद, राइट, बाकी भी कर सकते हैं. और नंबर्स देखिए, आज का नंबर्स और कल का नंबर्स में बहुत फर्क है. प्रॉब्लम आपका नंबर्स का है. और अगर आप सोचते हो कि कोई ठीक सारे अपने संस्कृति के मुताबिक चलेंगे, तो ये भी थोड़ा मुश्किल है. कुछ तो जाएंगे और ये प्राइवेट मिलिट्री कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स लुभाएंगे. पैसा है भाई. और इंटरनेशनल फोर्सेस ऐसे हैं, मैंने बताया आपको, राइट. अगर इनको चैनलाइज हम नहीं करेंगे तो ये क्या होगा? ये दे जॉइन मर्सनरी ग्रुप्स और प्राइवेट मिलिट्री कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स, एक्सट्रीमिस्ट ग्रुप्स. असम राइफल्स का मैं एक एक्सपीरियंस बताता हूं आपको. जब मैं नॉर्थ ईस्ट में ब्रिगेड कमांड कर रहा था, तो बहुत लोग आए मेरे पास और उन्होंने बोला कि भाई हमारे लड़कों को ट्रेन करो ताकि फौज के अंदर जाए. हमने कहा बहुत अच्छी बात है, हम ट्रेन करेंगे और रिक्रूटमेंट के लिए तैयार करेंगे. तो मैंने शुरू कर दिया, हुक्म दे दिया सब कुछ. पर एक बुजुर्ग सुबेदार मेजर मेरे पास आए, बोले साहब थोड़ा सोचिए, क्योंकि आप जो कदम उठा रहे हो, आप ट्रेन करोगे लड़कों को, और ट्रेन करने के बाद अगर ये फौज में नहीं गए तो ये उग्रवादी उनको ले जाएंगे. मैंने बंद कर दिया. ये प्रैक्टिकल है. वही बात अगर आप 5 साल एक अग्निवीर को ट्रेन करोगे, उसको काबिल बनाओगे और उसका देख रेख बाद में नहीं करोगे, तो कोई ना कोई उसको ले जाएगा, लुभा जाएगा. राइट. दूसरी बात, अगर ये कुछ लोग चले गए और वापस आएंगे, लॉलेसनेस इंक्रीज होगा हमारा समाज में. एक पान सिंह तोमर का पिक्चर देख ही लिया आपने, ओके. Let me look at the how do we avoid it. That's the more important thing for me. I can keep saying this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. It is not the solution for India. I'm looking at a solution. I would like to sensitize the government about this through all of you. Send it to everyone. I'm not looking at anything personal for me. I did this when the Agniveer scheme was brought in. I'm doing it again now because I see the problem. And I'm very sure that our system will take note of it and they will do the right thing. ये मेरे को पूरा यकीन है. मेरा सिस्टम है भाई, we're very strong. And मेरा इंडिया है, it's very strong. I'm only highlighting the problem. Okay, this article, you can go to my website and see. The answer to a large extent lies in the sixth pay commission report. Right? Now I'll give the extracts. You can go to my website, have a look at it, and you'll see the crux. What does the report of the sixth pay commission say? It goes back to the fifth pay commission. The fifth pay commission had recommended increase in percentage of posts reserved for the retired service personnel in Group C and D in central police organizations to 25% that were recommended to be filled by lateral transfer of the retiring personnel to CPOs. The commission had also recommended 25% posts of assistant commandant in CPOs by lateral shift from defense forces. The fifth pay commission also suggested setting up a joint recruitment board comprising of CPOs and defense forces headquarters that would jointly select officers who would render 7 years service in defense forces to be followed by lateral shift to CPOs. ये फिफ्थ पे कमीशन की बात है और ये कहाँ आया है? सिक्स्थ पे कमीशन में आया. क्यों? इसके ऊपर अमल नहीं हुआ. A similar dispensation needs to be extended for filling up this is all sixth pay commission report. The civilian post in Ministry of Defense, which should also be filled by lateral shift of the defense forces personnel. The average yearly discharge from the defense forces personnel is approximately 40,000. उस वक्त की बात है. अग्निवीर के जमाने में डबल हो जाएगा ये. Assuming that a majority of these personnel would be apt for lateral shift, around 35,000 posts would be required annually to accommodate this personnel in CPOs oblique defense civilian organizations. Actual numbers are there, right? The size of various CPOs is approximately 7 lakhs. उस वक्त की बात है. आजकल वो ये almost equivalent to the armed forces. The CPOs are also around 10 lakhs. So the vacancies are also more. Right? The number of defense civilians in Ministry of Defense is around 4 lakhs. So he has clubbed 7 lakhs plus 4 lakhs. He says all vacancies in this first should be given to people retiring from defense services. The CPOs, the total number of average annual vacancies in CPOs and the various cadres of defense would be around 35,000. Thus, the potential to allow lateral shift of nearly all defense forces personnel to CPOs and various cadres of defense civilians exists. Answer government के पास है. They recommended, it is strongly recommended that in future all recruitments to the post of short service commissioned officers and personnel below officer ranks in the defense forces, CPOs and various defense civilian organizations should be made with the selected candidate serving initially in the defense forces for some period before being laterally shifted. Never implemented. If you implement this, most of your problem is solved. Lot of issues. As of today, it's only 10%. The quota is only 10%, and it doesn't get filled. You can have a look at figures. Someone can put RTA and get the figures and say if I'm wrong, I'll accept, but I don't think I'm wrong. And I'm very sure I'm not wrong. People will say, look, China भी ऐसे ही है, उनका 2 साल का conscription है. उनका क्या, वो कैसे करते हैं? China gives special benefits to all conscripts who served in the armed forces. They get first preference in jobs, they get first preference in studies, they get first preference in career and promotion. The government ensures that these people are reutilized, repurposed for civilian life. Let's have this. I have no issue. Then not a single Agniveer is wasted. That's what I say. What are the recommendations? My recommendations are very simple. Agniveer scheme has to be made a success. इसको सक्सेस बनाना अनिवार्य है देश के लिए, इसमें दो राय नहीं है। उसको किस तरीके से हम सक्सेस बनाएंगे वो हमारा ये रिकमेंडेशन है। उनको स्पेशल बेनिफिट्स दीजिए, उनका कोटास दीजिए एजुकेशन और रीस्किलिंग में, और अनिवार्य कीजिए कि किस स्किलिंग में, किस एजुकेशन में वो कर सकते हैं। इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी दैट दैट इज डन ड्यूरिंग सर्विस, दे कैन डू इट एट द एंड ऑफ द सर्विस। अपना 5 साल पूरा करो, उसके बाद एक एजुकेशन सिस्टम में जाइए या एक स्किलिंग कीजिए, एक कला सीख लीजिए या एक वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग कीजिए, और उसके बाद आफ्टर दैट वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग गेट देम अब्सॉर्ब्ड इन द इंडस्ट्री। डू ऑर्गेनाइज रीसेटलमेंट, lateral move into PMF. Why is it not being done? You need to have legal safeguards. You see, as of today, हमारे पास हमारा इसमें कोई लॉ नहीं है कि कोई प्राइवेट मिलिट्री कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बना सकता है, कुछ नहीं है, ये सब इलीगल है। आप एक लॉ बनाइए कि भाई ये हो नहीं सकता, कोई अग्निवीर ऐसे नहीं जा सकता, अगर जाएगा तो उसको ये परिणाम होगा। आप लॉ पार्लियामेंट में लॉ ले आइए, जरूरत है। आज तक उसका कोई, we don't have a legal provision for this. A restrictive law needs to be put in place, right? There are a lot of security companies जो ex-servicemen को लेते हैं, और मेरे को पूरा डाउट नहीं है, इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है कि they are the ones who funnel them out. Not all, but some will, some are. इसमें भी मेरे को डाउट नहीं है, क्योंकि बार बार रिपोर्ट्स भी आते हैं कि ये जाके कहीं दे हैव जॉइंड सम टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, यू फाइंड सम इंडियन फाइटर्स देयर, एंड ऑफ कोर्स दिस रिपोर्ट वेयर पीपल हैव गॉन टू इराक. Why will a private military contractor not take a fully trained soldier? He will go all out. The demand is there, the supply is there, right? एक और किसी ने मेरे को आज ट्विटर में बताया कि भाई देखो, जब पाकिस्तान टूट जाएगा तो पाकिस्तानी जाएंगे, पाकिस्तान आर्मी से वो जाएंगे, ये हमारे लड़के नहीं जाएंगे. मैं भी यही चाहता हूँ, अगर पाकिस्तान टूट गया तो वो पाकिस्तानी वाले जाएं, हमारे लड़के ना जाएं. अच्छा आइडिया है, पाकिस्तान को तोड़ दो, उनका आर्मी तोड़ दो, उनका वहां से जाएंगे पर बाड़े के सिपाही बन के, हमारा ना बने. They'll go on based on religion, terrorism, radicalism. उनका organized system भी है. After all, what was LET? What was Jaish-e-Mohammed? ये सब बाड़े के सिपाही तो हैं. They were all proxies of ISI. The entire Pakistani army from my side can become a proxy and go anywhere. It will be the best thing for us. But that's wishing. I should be positive to ensure, I should have positive control over our boys, our ex-servicemen, or whatever you call, or Agniveers, to ensure they serve the nation and that they don't go astray. This is what I've had to say. To think that there's no problem is wishing the problem away. We need to know that this problem is going to come. We need to take stock of it, and we need to apply our minds and, tackle it. I'm not saying it has to be done tomorrow. It doesn't have to be done day after. There is time. We have 4-5 years for it. We have time. Time is not against us. So that means the original problem of the whole story of Agniveer has to be relooked holistically. It can't be piecemeal. Do it holistically and then tackle it, right? I've come to the end of my talk. If you like this whole story, please press that bell button, whatever it is, and subscribe to my channel. I'll get you interesting stories. There's no story. I will give you interesting things which matter to us. Like, for example, tomorrow we're going to talk of the Indo-US strategic relationship. which is important. हमारा यूएसए के साथ जो नाता है, स्ट्रेटेजिक नाता है, वो इम्पोर्टेंट है, क्योंकि उसी के साथ हम चीन के साथ मुकाबला कर सकते हैं और पाकिस्तान के साथ निपट सकते हैं, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान में जिस तरीके से वो हालत बिगड़ रहा है, यू नीड यूएसए विद यू. I won't say you need USA with you. USA and we both need both each other. Okay. So this is where it is. I will say please subscribe to my channel and come. You will get the best. Right. Let me take all the questions. I see a lot of interaction. Good evening. Yeah, I'll take all. We have a lot of time. Gaurav SF says, I've seen Sri Lankans and French Falkland Legion on YouTube singing Indian Bollywood songs. I agree with you. Saw Agniveer will go and fight in other countries to earn dollars like engineers and doctors. Yes, possible. He's got a skill. If you don't look after him, you don't channelize him, it's a market-driven system. There's money. He'll do that for whatever it is. Anand, do you think private sector is interested in, and there's any practical solution of using Agniveer in practice? Yes, definitely. This is a disciplined force, skilled force. Skill them, reskill them. But it has to be a program. You see, initially when the Agniveer scheme came, everyone said, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do that. Okay, fine. After that, the scheme has started. If you don't start thinking of reskilling them and reusing them and using them later, we are out. He says, you're right, sir. I am right. Unfortunately, I would like to be wrong. What kinds of exit policy do we need to safeguard our interests? Aditya, I've already highlighted this, so I don't think I need to. So the big problem and only solution is to absorb into CRPF, state police, etc. Look, Raghunandan, it is not only one. You can't have a one fix for everything, or you can't have a one-stop solution for everything. It has to be mixture of everything, right? Banks, CRPF, local police, industry. Many industries would like logistics and hospitality industry. All these places, these chaps will be very good. So that's a different story. So it's not a one-stop shop. Okay, right. I think everyone in the nation appreciated a concern, but don't you think by saying this you're questioning the nationalism and integrity of the Agniveer? I'm not. I'm fully confident of that he will be nationalistic in integrity, but money matters. I'm not questioning them. I'm also saying that not all will go. But even if 25% go, we are in trouble. All I'm saying is safeguard. I have full confidence that the Indian Army will train them. I have full confidence that once you put rules and regulations in place, this will not happen. Right? And if one has complete integrity and all that, that's being utopian. There will be still people out. Look, that first thing I showed you was from a very high officer who knew what he was talking. Yeah, further, those who don't continue will be sent to police and paramilitary forces. There's no, you're talking of something which doesn't exist. You don't have a policy for this. I've shown you the figures. Jawans are the backbone of the nation. Uski family ko kaun dekega? We have to see. This is all of this thing, right? Okay, next. We can add clauses in the contract before joining Agniveer that if they join any private military force or in case of thing, as is being done by engineers. Yeah, but all that you don't have a lien after 5 years. When he joins, he will not know. When he joins you, he is part of the army. After that, after 5 years, what is the you don't have any, you don't give him pension, you go him just only a severance pay and send him off. You give him a lump sum. After that, you say he is on his own. That is why I said you have to think of all this now. Anand, I agree with you that we have to think. If we don't think, we are in problem. Yeah. Divyanshu, job security is the biggest reason along with perks. Yeah, I agree with you. There's no doubt. After World War II, many German soldiers got recruited in French Foreign Legion. These Germans fought in Vietnam during French occupation of Vietnam. Yes. Look, just for your information, if you want to get a US citizenship, join their army. That citizenship is fast tracked. If you they have a limit, depending on how much you serve, you get citizenship. The French army also even now still takes people. People from Pondicherry can go into the French army like that and get citizenship and shift to France. So all these are there. Okay, right, right. In my opinion, Agniveer should be recruited in the state police, and yeah, I agree with you. That's what. Look, two successive pay commission reports have said that they should be doing it, but for whatever reason, the government has not done it. All I'm saying, please do it. Otherwise, you have a problem at hand, or find another thing. If you don't, if you say that there's no problem, then when you can, especially when you can see the problems 5 years ahead, that's the issue. Okay, Vishwanath says only 5 to 10% of Agniveer may be taken and can be in other government police services to mitigate the problem. I mean, I've shown you the figures. Even if 10% of Agniveers every year go out into this business, you're in trouble. Okay. Let me see. Right. I see a lot of you having a talk with each other and all that. Don't worry. Look, don't you. This is an emotive subject. I understand. The moment you hear it, everyone has his own view and everyone has an opinion on it, and everyone feels for the nation. I agree, but don't fight. Don't have this thing. We are all. The whole idea of this video is to ensure a lot of people see it. Send it to all of you. Send it to your friends. Let them see, and then take a call. I'm sure things will work out. I have confidence. Right, right. I see a lot of talk. What is the idea behind Agniveer? Also, loyalty is lost. The idea behind Agniveer is to reduce the age profile, save on finances, and so that modernization is, funded. All that. Uh, the loyalty quotient is suspect after 5 years. It's a different thing when a person serves for a long time. His loyalty quotient will be different. If he serves just for 4 5 years, his loyalty quotient will be different, right? So there is a problem which everyone is aware of. It is not as if I'm saying something, like Einstein pulling a rabbit out of the hat. Right? There is a problem, and we have to resolve it. And that is what is the weakness of Agniveer when he comes out with after 5 years. And there's a market available. See, by the time the first chap comes out, 2026, 27, if the whole thing is a multi-billion-dollar market, he'll be in it, right? Right. I do a lot of uh, yeah. Pakistani act as mercenaries in Middle East, sir. They're already but Bade ke Sipahi quarter. Yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, I'll be very happy if Pakistan breaks up and their army breaks up and they go as Bade ke Sipahi. But I don't want Agniveers to go. I'm only trying to tell everyone, please stop it. Yeah, I don't see any questions. So, yeah, Aditya says. So, what is the difference between Chinese conscript soldiers and Indian Agniveers like in training attitude question. Yeah, uh, the okay. Let's talk of the Chinese conscript soldiers. The Chinese conscript soldiers, 2 years, uh, they're low on motivation. Okay, at the end of 2 years training, they are given an opportunity to become permanent, and 50% of them, I think, become permanent. The rest go away, right? And they are only many of them join the armed forces only to get a leg up outside, to go get a good college, get a good job, assured job, XYZ. In fact, today only I read a article which said that the Chinese PLA have reduced the qualification marks for non-combatant personnel. That is, if you're not in frontline combat or in logistics and all that, your physicals can be down. So they have a different problem. Now, the Indian Agniveer so far is an unknown quantity. We have just started training the first lot. My interaction with those people who are under training or who are training them, etc., suggests that there's no difference between the Agniveer and the new earlier recruit. They're the same. They're going through the same training process. They'll come out almost the same, almost, right? But the worry for them is, भाई 5 साल के बाद हमारा क्या होगा, ठीक है? And ये जो 75% coming out, that competitiveness of performance, which will be the thing whether he stays or not, we will come to know only next year onwards when they join the units where they have to perform. With the training, they have not gone to the units as such. So that is the thing. Let us see. Look, I am foreseeing a problem and सबको चेतावनी दे रहा हूं मैं, जो आगे देख सकता हूं मैं. Right. What would the inculcation of Agniveer in the police perhaps lead to the militarization of the police? Well, it's any case the same thing. After all, that's also militarized. It's a paramilitary force. Okay, police force is a paramilitary force. At the end of the day, they also there are special police battalions, the commando police battalions, all kinds. So, ऐसी बात नहीं. This is not a problem. Yeah. Pratik, long time, Pratik. How are you? How's your studies going? I hope you're doing well. How much is the chance Agni will choose to hold guns at then a civilian job, even at a mercenary? Because if they think themselves as a fighter, they will not choose civilian jobs. There's a problem. Look, in India, I think you'll find all types. See, what happens to a Jawan who holds a gun? He gets the power of the gun. He's young. So his behavior changes. I've seen this happen. So there are some people, for example, take the case of Burhan Wani, who, that Kashmiri chap who was killed, militant. He went into the social media with all his pictures plastered with guns, all that. It's glamour. So there will be people, and I've seen people with a gun, otherwise normal guys, the moment they have a gun, their behavior changes. It's psychological. So there will be 5 people after 5 years who will prefer to do that than this. You cannot stop that behavior. You have to minimize it. If you give them a good job, you give them hygiene sanitation factors, then the chances of him going astray are less. That's my take. And like I said, you have to see this over the next 5-year period. There's a problem over 5 years, but which you cannot ignore. If you ignore, you're in trouble from today only. You can have a sunset clause with settlement in some form of thing. Yeah, that's what I also say. I agree with you. Yeah, how about such Agniveers getting jobbed into outstation Indian establishment? Yeah, first class, Arun. I'm with it. See, I'm glad that a new thing has come out. Arun has given a good idea, right? Out of wherever Indian establishments all over the world, like ONGC, EAO, these guys can go. I'm fully agreement with you. I'm glad. Asa, why was the name? Why Naravne sir didn't agree to this scheme? Bhakti, I really won't know why he didn't agree or why he agreed, because you'll have to ask him that. I was right. Can we combine police reforms and disposal of retired armed forces? Look, if you do too many things at the same time, you might not end up with something. Leave it to the government. We have done the job of telling the government this is the scale of the problem coming ahead. If they're not known, so I'm sure the government will take the right steps. Like I said, time has. Okay, but something of this kind is required, Anand. Mm, question: can we perhaps have a form of an Agniveer job program where the civil society and I agree with you. Soft landing out into the civil society is required for Agniveers, which is a national requirement. Yeah. With the retreat of Americans out of Afghanistan and other global south, we might require such human. Yes, for your overseas supply chains and activities, you can use Agniveers. See, the scope for repurposing them is huge, but you have to think. If you do not think and leave it, then you are in trouble. If you use them, they will be force multipliers in the growth of our nation. And that is what I would like to happen. Yeah, I agree with you. Reskilling by industry and PSSUs there is one of the solutions, right? Pratik says, I'm doing good, little busy with research. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, thank you, Pratik. I am. I'm glad you're doing research. Do well. The last question they could spend on the new parliament for all I care. Look, let's not get into this. I'm sure they will do the right thing. Okay. One more. Arun has have multiple veteran programs both in corporate fields and academia to facilitate such traction towards civilian life after their service. Even China does it, but yeah, Arun, you're right. That's what I also saying that you need to have, uh, for example, the American system. If you are a veteran, your education, post graduation, everything is free, and it's quite a bit. Okay, so there are a lot of facilities. The facilities for veterans there are quite a bit, right? So, look, I think I've put my views across, and I've got some constructive interaction with all of you. Uh, Grateful for you all to attend this on a Sunday evening. Tomorrow we're going to do India-US strategic partnership, right? With someone who's actually handled it, Lieutenant General Anil Ahuja. He's a little senior to me, great friend of mine, lot of depth. Join in tomorrow, right? Last induction of military into police in uh, yeah, policing has led to militarization of police. How do we, yeah, that's a thing which we have to, it's an evolving problem, right? Uh, yeah, I'm looking forward to interaction with all of you. Thanks a lot. Great. And Jai Hind. Good evening.